Hi, I'm Phil and welcome back to my channel. Now many of you know that I work as a commercial photographer and that's my full-time day job. And although the last couple of years has not been easy, it's a job that I love, and like my interest in motorcycles, it's something that I'm very passionate about. I've shared a few of my shots on some of my videos, and quite a few of you have told me that you have an interest in photography also, which is fantastic. In this video, I not only want to share some of my images from a motorcycle lifestyle shoot I had with one of my Instagram friends who visited London from across the pond, I also want to encourage you that when life doesn't look like it's going according to plan, not to give up and keep doing what you love. This is my story on how a few chance encounters have not only changed the path of my life, but also changed the path of others around me. When I started this channel back in December 2020, I had lots of ideas of videos I wanted to create, including touring adventures on my motorcycle, like my trip to Scotland, and how I wanted to introduce to you some of my friends and the people I meet along the way. Well, we all know what happened in 2020, and I don't know how the year went for you, but mine didn't quite go according to plan. Well, when I say to plan, I'm not sure if I even really had a plan. They were more just thoughts and ideas. But sometimes in life, when things don't go according to plan, you get those serendipitous moments or chance encounters that make you appreciate life and the people around you. Now, have you ever thought about how the people you meet can take your life in a different direction? A sliding doors moment, if you're old enough to remember the film with the same name, where insignificant moments alter the trajectory of future events. Let me start this story by introducing Dominika to you, better known on social media as Dominika Rides. I followed Dominika on Instagram for many years before meeting her in person at the Bike Shed show a few years back. At that time, Dominika was living in London, working as a model and riding around on her personalised Ducati Scrambler. Right back then, Dominika was also a very passionate biker, motorcycle influencer and part of the Ducati family. Since meeting Dominika, I've tried to support her in my little way, which really isn't that difficult because she creates really great content. Dominika has now gone on to be a sports presenter working on the Red Bull Rookies Cup, as well as continuing to work as a model and motorcycle social media influencer. Now, I believe it was at the beginning of lockdown 2020 when Dominika called her friend in the USA for a live Instagram chat, her friend being Sara Dean Cole. Now, some of you know Sara as Sarah, and some of you know Dominika as Dominika, and some say Ducati and others say Ducati, or you might know Dainese as Dainese. It's all very confusing, or it is for me at least. Sara is also part of the Ducati family and rides a very awesome Panigale V4S. She is president of the Houston Ducati Owners Club, as well as being a Dainese Dallas ambassador.
I just arrived in San Francisco and I'm super excited to be here. This was actually my first time riding a monster, so I was really excited to see what it was all about, being of these very steep hills of San Francisco. But I quickly gained my confidence, feeling that low and mid-range torque and how lightweight it is. Even turning at low speeds, it felt easy to maneuver.
Since the live Q&A, I've been getting to know Sara on Instagram by liking her images, creating a conversation through comments, and later by swapping messages. In one conversation I said to Sara that if she ever visits London to let me know, and perhaps we could meet up for a photo shoot. Well, in August 2021, that's exactly what happened. So we arranged to meet at the bike shed in London for a drink and something to eat, and I was whacking my brain on how, what and where we could shoot, when Sara messaged me to say Ducati UK were going to be at the bike shed promoting their new London store, which incidentally looks utterly amazing, and I can't wait to test ride a few bikes when the weather gets a little bit warmer. Now Sara will be travelling light and wouldn't have her riding gear with her, and then I remembered she was a Dainese ambassador, and that's when I had a light bulb moment. The Dainese London store was just a few minutes walk from the bike shed, and perhaps they would consider getting involved. After mentioning this to Sara, she made a few calls and messages to her contacts, and before we knew it, Dainese London had kindly offered to loan Sara some very cool gear for our shoot. Now while I was waiting for Sara at the bike shed, I got chatting to the team at Ducati UK, who were kind enough to lend us one of their awesome bikes for the photo shoot. Now what was I saying about a sliding doors moment? So with the help and support of Dainese London, Ducati UK, Ducati London and the bike shed, Sara and I were able to have our motorcycle lifestyle photo shoot, and I created a set of images that I'm super proud of. As you can see, the bike we used was the Ducati Street Fighter V4S Dark Stealth model. And just look how the Dainese riding gear colour coordinates with the bike and the surroundings perfectly, which is something I like to do with my photography, as you may have noticed. Now let me tell you a little bit about my photography. So for this shoot I used the Canon 5D Mark III with a 24-105 f4 lens. Now I also used the Canon 70-200 f2.8 lens. Now 99.9% of the time I set the camera to manual mode, which I did in this case, and I used the shutter speed of 320th of a second. The f-stop, or the aperture, was between 5.6 and f9. Now the reason behind that was that in some photos I wanted the Ducati to be slightly out of focus, but I wanted the emphasis to be on the Dainese riding gear so you can really see the detail. And with an aperture of around f9 or even f7.1, that really brings out all the detail in the clothing. Now the ISO was between 800 and 1250. Now I am planning on creating a series on how to photograph your motorcycle, so if that's of interest to you, then please let me know in the comments. Although it wasn't a long shoot, it was so cool to finally get to work with Sara, who is such a lovely person and so down to earth. Now make sure you go and follow her on Instagram and obviously subscribe on her YouTube channel, and I'll make sure that I put some links in the description. But the story doesn't end there. We reluctantly returned the Street Fighter to Ducati, and Sara and I then sat in the unique environment of the bike shed to get to know each other a little bit better. Now as we sat at the table, there was a mix of Ducatis and other brands of bikes rumble past our table whilst we sat there enjoying our food. Now, Sara had also let some of her UK friends know that she was in town and invited them along for drinks. Now it wasn't long before we sat down that one of her friends, Nesli, who prefers to be called Nez, rocked up on her BMW R90 Scrambler, looking very cool indeed. Well, meeting Nez was not only awesome on the day, but again would alter the trajectory of future events in my life. More about that in my next video, when I tell you about the first Instagram biker meetup that I organised. And I'm sure you'll be seeing a lot more of Nez in future videos. Until then, go subscribe to Sara's, Dominika's and Nesli's YouTube channel and follow them on Instagram too. I'll make sure that I add a link in the description. Now, if you like this content, which is a little bit different to the other content that I've created, then please subscribe to my channel too. And don't forget to hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on my next video. If you have any questions about our shoot, my photography, or the Dainese riding gear, or the Street Fighter, then please leave a comment. I'm always interested to know what you guys think. Now I'd also like to thank Ducati UK, Ducati London, Dainese London and the Bike Shed for all their help with producing this video. Now for Sara and I, we just wanted to have a fun shoot together, create some images, but when I approached all the different brands and told them that I wanted to make this video, they all went out of their way to allow me to shoot this content. So really appreciate that, guys. Thanks very much. Now I think I'm going to grab this mug and make myself a nice cup of tea. Now, even creating this video, not everything went according to plan. I had major computer and software problems. I lost so much footage. It was soul destroying. But after sulking all weekend, if you follow me on Instagram, you'll know that I did. Picked myself up, started again and created the video that you see here today. So guys, I talked to myself that when life doesn't go according to plan, do not give up and do what you love. So stay safe and thanks as always for watching. Now it's time for a nice cup of tea. Subscribe, like and comment. In this video, I not only want to share some of my images from a motorcycle lifestyle photoshoot I had with one of my Instagram friends who visited London. It wasn't me farting.